Chapter 10. The artist Mikhailov was, as always, at work when the cards of Count Vronsky and Golenishtchev were brought to him. In the morning, he had been working in his studio at his big picture. Never did he work with such fervor and success as when things went ill with him. He was making a sketch for the figure of a man in a violent rage. A sketch had been made before, but he was dissatisfied with it.
I think I have to start here.
The paper with the discarded sketch on it was found, but it was dirty and spotted with candle grease. Still, he took the sketch, laid it on his table, and moving a little away, screwing up his eyes, he fell to gazing at it. All at once he smiled and gesticulated gleefully.
I love storytelling, and I love stories, and I love novels and characters, but there's a part of me that resists that kind of specificity. I like to hold back and be more ambiguous. I think all of my work is kind of like how I draw. It's just a lot of build-up, a lot of little parts, a lot of construction, taking away and cutting and adding and pasting and bending and morphing something. I'm very physical with my work. I think it's mostly driven by temperament. My work isn't really one decision that's stable. It's a lot of interwoven and fluctuating decisions. And that's why it permits me a different kind of brain activity, right? Like I can listen to Anna Karenina and not be disrupted.
Chapter 12. He had positively forgotten that picture he had painted 3 years ago. He had forgotten all the agonies and the ecstasies he had lived through with that picture, when for several months it had been the one thought haunting him day and night. He had forgotten, as he always forgot, the pictures he had finished.
So much of the visual vocabulary of the sculptures came from wanting to dissolve the work, dissolve as much mass as I could from the object. These drips, right? These drips that are kind of suspended in isolation. When I realized that I had this capacity to make the surface liquid, or to make it kind of seem like it's still moving, then I thought, wow, that's an opportunity to really think about image building with this material.
The figure from a lifeless, imagined thing had become living, and such that it could never be changed. That figure lived and was clearly and unmistakably defined.
With every project, I'm kind of asking, how can I rethink this process that I've become familiar with? So when the image is all kind of, let's say, glued up together, when it's all set and ready and dry and we can take it off, we peel it off the wall and it pops off. Those become dimensional things. It's actually such a textured process. I don't really know how people read it, but it's not an image anymore, it's an object.
He did not believe that his picture was better than all the pictures of Raphael, but he knew that what he tried to convey in that picture, no one ever had conveyed. But other people's criticisms, whatever they might be, had yet immense consequence in his eyes.
Sometimes when people know the source material, they're like, oh, that's what that means, or that must have this kind of, A plus B equals significance. And I want to slow down the interpretation a little bit. Not having grown up in a Christian home, I don't always know the kind of biblical story about those paintings. It feels like they're so generous, and so they allow anyone to take from them. It's part of my history, it's part of everyone's history. I kind of just steal the compositions, like the bare skeletal, faintest, but I obliterate everything else. The details are gone. Nothing is stable. Everything is moving and dripping and messy.